Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another one. It's been a little bit. We have got a lot to speak about, which is, I've not consumed this much wrestling in quite a while. But first of all, Jordan, how are you? Well, apart from being ill.
I've been smited down with some illness, but apart from that, not too bad. Surviving, ready for a long week of activities.
Not a good day for my internet, but it's a good start. We're gonna take a.
I think my internet's completely gone.
Gold. This is a good start. Right, let me.
I got you. I'm back. Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
That's fine.
I think we're there. So, we'll start with this. For the first time in, I don't know, forever, I think NXT is leading everybody else this week, which is not a sentence I've ever said at any time before. But yeah, we obviously had Tuesday, which was. It's gone again. This is going to go well, I can see.
I'm supposed to be the one with the bad internet here.
No, I know. Sometimes mine does this. I think it just likes to randomly do it. So yeah, we. I was excited for most of the card, but most of the card was okay, but not anything great. And then I was completely shocked off the face of the earth. So yeah. So at the start, we had Bailey against Cora Jade, which was really good actually. Roxanne Perez came out to Bailey's old music to cause like a distraction for Cora Jade to win. Briggs and Inamura gained a shot at the tag team titles. Then we had the my screen just keeps going black on and off. I'm just going to have to deal with it. But yeah, then the unspeakable happened. So I'm going to pass it over to you.
I feel like you were about to pass it over to me then, but you froze, so I have no idea what's going on.
My internet's clearly being a pain in the arse.
You're back.
Yeah.
Just as you're back, you're gone again.
Ricky Starks.
Ricky Starks. Okay, I got that bit. I can go from there. Cool. Yeah. So what an entrance! What a way to assert himself into the NXT picture. This really gave me throwback WCW Lex Luger vibes. No one was expecting it this quickly, and we knew it was a matter of when, not if. But the fact that they just had him casually walk out, not say anything about it happening like they did with the Charlotte Flair return. He came out, dropped a cool promo, gave us the little hand signal, but he didn't say his name, and a few times since then, the way they've worded him makes me feel like he's going to get a name change. The fact that they said him, the hottest free agent, and kind of beat around it. But NXT proving and WWE proving that right now in wrestling, we can just expect that unexpected at all times.
Yeah, it was one of those ones, and it was kind of that shock in that something we never normally see. People normally only come out at the end of a match or at the start of a pay-per-view or like actual scheduled times to come out. So I think that's what surprised me the most, was that before they'd even got to like the people coming out for the main event for the cage match, he just randomly walked out. So it shows they do actually think, right, what do we normally do? And let's do it in that way. So that's good. Obviously, there was a cage match at the end, which ended with a retain of the title. Which would be great if we still had War Games in NXT, because then that would be fantastic. But obviously we don't. So, yeah, I still think it could be a massive one at Standard Deliver, though, and they both go at it, but we'll find out. So, let's change my little banner to Saturday night.
Saturday night,
yeah, Saturday night, Sunday morning. So obviously we had Vengeance Day. My first thoughts were and kind of sent him back to LFG where he's on now.
Your Wi-Fi is so bad.
I am going to do something like this and bring it down to low definition.
Whoa, it's much more zoomed in on you now.
It's much more zoomed in on me now, but it's a lower definition, so I hope that...
No, it's it's gone again almost immediately. Okay, we're back.
Right, I'm not going to say anything too quickly. But yeah, so we...
It's gone again.
Right, let me just... right, so I'm going to hit a countdown again.
I don't think the countdown's working. But whilst you're gone, I might as well talk about the tweet that we just found. So Do you mind if I talk about that, Sam? He's gone off. He's gone off the face of the earth. Let's see. Oh, is there?
Right. I'm hoping that this is now hopefully a little bit better.
This is your normal spot anyway, isn't it?
No, this is my semi-normal spot before my sister moved out for a year, and I've got a desk. So this is the OG spot. I think that looks like it's better now, which is good. I say that. So we go back to what I was saying about Corey Graves. I really hope that he just sucks it up now and moves on to commentary on NXT. But I don't really know how that works, because obviously, like, he's voiced his annoyance on Twitter. We kind of thought that it was kind of a ploy to get him back wrestling again, which obviously it isn't, unless it's some massive, great big surprise for WrestleMania, but I can't imagine it is. So yeah, it's an odd one. I wonder where he sits with WWE now.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that if they were ever going to pull the trigger on him returning and using this as a storyline, the Royal Rumble would have been the place.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like that moment's passed. So I think it probably was just to shake things up on WWE's end, and he voiced his opinion. He'll probably get a slap on the wrist for it, and they'll just forget it happened, I think.
Yeah, I'm just I don't know. I get that you've got to have a commentator that's really excited, but I wish somebody never told me how annoying Booker T was, because I didn't really realize it until they said it. And then I kind of disagreed, and I was like, oh, he's just really funny. And now I watched Vengeance Day, and I thought, yeah, I see what they mean now. Because it's not even like sometimes to do with what he's watching. He's just screaming randomly. Like, and I think to myself, like, but can't do anything about that. So I'm going to talk about the first match. So we had Fallon Henley as a champion versus Stephanie Vaquer. It was a tough match that Fallon.
You've gone again, Sam. Oh, I got you. You're back.
Yeah, it might be one of those streams where I just have to go with it. So, I just looked at this match. Oh, I'm going to start making random noises like Booker T as well, I think. So, yeah. So, obviously, Stephanie Vaquer won that match. I was really pleased about that. I think she'll hold it for a while and prove to be like this. Yeah, a little bit of an unbeatable champion, which will be really good. At that point, after that match, my comments were, there's a lot to do by NXT for the rest of the pay-per-view, because they set the bar off like really high. I thought, oh my God, what's going to happen from now? There was then a bit that I really liked the pay-per-view when Soruka came on and with like an X video, and she was training Zaria to do all these things. So she was doing like volleyball. Did you see it?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
It was just something that I don't think we see that much of now in WWE. Just these funny, like, bizarre, random promos. So I really liked.
It gave me I don't know if you remember when Daniel Bryan teamed with Kane and they were Team Hell No, and they were going to their like therapy sessions together.
Mhm.
And it kind of just was like a nice bit of comedic relief to someone that's so serious like Zarya as was Kane. Um, and it's refreshing to see like characters step outside what their normal persona is.
Yeah, because I've been a little bit frustrated because obviously they gave Solruka that massive push, and then because of how big the division is, lots of them are just kind of faded into the background. So I think that's potentially why, as they're doing at the moment, is shifting some of the talent across to the main roster, because I do think that unfortunately, eventually, if all these people like Solruka aren't getting a match or any time on NXT, they start considering where else they can go. So yeah, it's good for them to have that division, but ultimately they I don't know what they do with it. Obviously I hope they don't all start leaving, but obviously we should find out.
I mean, they need to build the women's tag team division as well. And although the titles don't get defended that much, they still need some sort of division on NXT. So I believe that's fine. The only other option is they got with WWE Evolve coming out, that they're going to have to drop some of the lower used non-televised people such as Solruka down to that, which is probably a bit of a downfall for her. But if they've got nowhere else for her, it's better than her sitting off TV.
Yeah, it's one of those ones, isn't it? It's like obviously you're really excited that all these women are coming through of NXT, but eventually, like I say, it will just mean that lots of them. Because I did think I'm really surprised that it's only really one that's gone up, like as such. Obviously, that person. Obviously, that might change, but I did think after the first NXT on Netflix that some of them would go to the main roster, but it's not looked that.
Yeah, I think we'll probably see, because NXT is still on the CW network. I think we'll probably, maybe after Stand and Deliver / WrestleMania, we'll probably maybe see a couple go up. But to be honest, there isn't really anyone that I would say that would go up to make an impact. The only two really are Julia and Stephanie Vakir, and they're going to be in NXT for a while. So I'd just be very worried that anyone going up would end up like Blair Davenport and just not get used.
Yeah, I suppose it's something that they've never had to think about before, so it's completely new to them. They've never had a women's division in NXT as big as this and like as good as this, so they're kind of learning as they go along as well. But since this was so highly spoke about from you, I'm going to pass the next match over to you, which is a tag match.
Yeah, what a match! I mean, when Nathan Fraser and Axiom got put together, I was like, I don't like this. I didn't like Axiom to start with. I thought he was much better as a kid. Damn, what a match! I've turned from a hater of those two to a lover. I thought that their tag team run was not great, but what a match! Shout out to Josh Briggs and Inamura, because that was some people will say that was a spot fest of cool moments, but I remember talking to you afterwards and just being like, what a match! The chemistry between Fraxium and then Briggs and Inamura, who haven't been teaming that well, and then for all 4 of them to gel like that, incredible. Really some cool moments, and I hope that this little partnership between WWE or NXT and Noah continue, because I'm not very well versed with Japanese wrestling, and to get guys like that come over and put on a display like that was awesome. Yeah, that great match, and like I said to you, it was really a match of the year candidate for NXT 100%.
I'll come back. So yeah, I do think that obviously lots of people would have looked and thought, you know what, they'd have probably overlooked that match in terms of the main events that they had. Not really the men's, I suppose, but certainly like the women's fatal 4-way. That was the match that everyone was talking about. But I do think that kind of one of those ones that shouldn't have been as good as it was, but it just was. And I think it kind of comes back again. It's
You've frozen in such a funny way.
oh, this is painful. So yeah, his style of wrestling was very different to anything that we currently see, and that was clear to see, I think. But it was a really refreshing change, actually, because I've just started watching New Japan and stuff like that. So actually, my limited viewing of that, I could see that, oh yeah, this different style of wrestling is hopefully going to come across, because that partnership that they've got, and them being put in this tag team match that's on a really big pay-per-view, will get people talking and more people want to come across. So no, that's only really good.
Should also shout out that golden ratio from Axiom, where they were having the slap. They were just chopping each other, and Axiom, I don't know, that was like a Shawn Michaels-esque super kick. I don't know how he pulled that out, but it looked like he absolutely clocked Inamura. So that was fantastic.
Yeah, it did. Had at the end, which obviously, as I thought about this, I think them bringing out this masked 4-piece from the Performance Center, I think they messed up a lot by bringing them out a couple of times. I think they needed to just bring them out once. I don't know where that was, because I don't know, but they should have brought them out once. Rather than
I feel like when they came out during the Obafemi match, it was way more impactful. They had the lights going, they had some music on in the background. I was like, this is great. I mean, both were fine, but not together on the same card. Yeah. It should have been one or the other. Am I freezing as well, or is it just your camera that's freezing? Because right now it's just you frozen with your eyes closed.
Oh, get better internet, they said. It would be much better, they said. And it's not at all. And I don't know why, like everything else, our internet's quite quick, but for some reason, StreamYard seems to take up this massive amount of internet that however big your internet is, sometimes it just doesn't have it. So yeah, obviously it reminded me when it happened, it reminded me a little bit of WWE trying to copy like Nexus when they came out. Is it like that? But it was still quite exciting because obviously normally when people come out, we know exactly who it is. The commentators will say, "Oh my god, it's such and such," but the fact that they went, "Oh my god, these are people from the performance center we think, but I've got no idea who they are," I did think that made it more exciting than somebody we know coming out. So obviously there's progression for them to build a story around these four people. So yeah, that's exciting. Since then, nothing's happened. We might find out a little bit more tomorrow night.
Tonight.
But obviously, see. Go on.
It's nice. The NXT's tonight.
Oh yeah, it's Tuesday, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Tuesday.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we've got a number one contenders match on there tonight for a title, and I do think there is the Sean Spears against I can't think of his name now. One of D'Angelo's.
It's Stacks.
Right. So that's there. I'm quite surprised they haven't kept that and let that keep building up until Stand and Deliver, to be fair. But obviously we'll find out. You probably still could.
Yeah, I think they're going to play the long game with that rivalry. They'll let Stacks do it whilst Tony D'Angelo's out for a little bit, and then they'll maybe Stand and Deliver. They'll have the big payoff. Like you said, that I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 4-on-4 or something.
Yeah. Obviously I'd be down for when I come back again. It's normally just the people at the forefront that get the matches, so it actually might be quite good for other people to get in there as well a bit. So next up was a strap match. I kind of watched this in the background. I don't think it was a bad match. I thought it was good, but I thought it had big boots to fill from the start anyway. It's one of those ones. It's one of those ones that we've been seeing over the last couple of weeks, so it doesn't even feel like it's a new match. It's been building up for quite a while, and it's one of those ones that you don't really know an outcome, and you're not really that invested in it anymore. But hey ho, it's still okay. Where's my other page?
I just want to say that I think that might be the last we see of Trick Williams in NXT. If he's on there tonight, then he's not getting a call up until Stand and Deliver. But the as I've watched NXT over the last 10 years or whatever, the way I've seen it is somebody that's on their way out takes a loss unexpectedly, takes the pinfall. And I didn't see Trick losing that. There was no need for Trick to lose that unless he was being called up. I need to know as well. I can't remember who got pinned in the women's match, but if Roxanne got pinned, which I think she might have, she was on Raw last night. So maybe Trick got pinned on Saturday. We'll see him on Friday.
Yeah, no, I did think that would. I did call that happening when they had the first NXT on Netflix. I said after that, whoever loses both of those title matches will end up going to WWE. I thought it was after, but I do kind of think. and 90% of the time they then kind of fade into the background, which is a shame. But I'm hoping this is because I actually think he's had that much time on NXT where he's been absolutely massive. It was like a slow rise, and then all of a sudden, everybody, like overnight, everybody then just thought, "Oh my god, he's amazing." So yeah, we'll obviously see what happens with that one. So we had a couple more matches. And that was obviously when my thing comes back. Yeah, it's obviously for the next part of that story, which is really good. They kind of did little bits where the mouthpiece flew out of John Evans' mouth, and they're like, "Oh my god, he's not going to be able to wrestle again." So it was really done well story-wise as well, because there was a moment where Javon even stamped on Ethan Page's jaw. So yeah, I do think that's leading into a big stipulation at Stand and Deliver, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a great match. I've not really been the biggest fan of Ethan Page since he's come on to NXT. He's probably the most ready heel on NXT to be on the main roster. He didn't, to be honest, he didn't need to go to NXT. He could have gone to the main roster, but it's been good to see what he's doing. But yeah, I've not been the biggest fan of him, but I like that match. And Javon Evans, man, what a talent! I've not really watched too many of his matches in full, but man, that kid is bouncy.
Yeah, I haven't really been, to be honest, Ethan Page's biggest fan, because they've kind of made him look a bit silly before this whole rivalry. But this whole rivalry, I think, has propelled him to the point where Triple H will be looking at him and thinking, "Do you know what? I can insert him against a Gunther or against somebody else that's just going to create this mad match." But
I think he'd have a great feud with Cody Rhodes, where Cody is so over and such a baby face. Ethan Page is just such a heel that it would work well.
yeah, no, I do think you're right. We're kind of still a little bit in the dark about what's going to happen at Mania, which is good, because by this time normally we already know the full card. So yeah, I'm pleased that we're lots being left up to surprise. So obviously the next match was one that honestly I couldn't really care much about. When every match that Oberfemi is great, but Austin Theory and Grayson Waller really aren't two people that are ever believable that are going to get anywhere close to him. I'm hearing today that they're kind of and I do think it was really good. It was kind of a little bit all over the place, and as good triple threats are. Obviously, the Masked Men had another run in, but Oberfemi obviously retained. The next moment I really did like as well, because Ariana Grace came out and announced herself as the TNA middle woman, basically the correspondence between WWE and TNA. But the better thing was in walks Santino Marella with his little chain around his neck that he does, because that's something that excels TNA to another level. I think his just whole aura of being this manager, but he's larger than life. did like. Main event. While my internet's being dodgy, I'm going to pass it over to you while I've still got you here.
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, for the main event, we had Julia defending her title against Bayley, Roxanne Perez, and Cora Jade, which was, I've got the time here. It was 18 minutes and 31 seconds, which is the longest match of the night by about 3 minutes. And man, what a performance from all four women. I mean, you know, looking at that, I really felt like if Julia hadn't just become champion, I felt like anyone could have taken it that night. I felt like Bayley could have took it, and Bayley could have had that run as champion again. It was a great swan song from Roxanne Perez to leave NXT if that is her last appearance now. But Julia's a beast, man. She is faultless. The fact that we've got two talents like her and Stephanie Vakir on the NXT women's roster at the same time is ridiculous. Great match, lots of close calls. There was a cool spot where Cora Jade was in the corner, and we had a weird superplex and a power bomb. I can't remember who took the fall. It was either Cora Jade or Roxanne Perez, but that was a great match.
Yeah, I do think they could have potentially. My camera. I just wanted to go on them for a little longer. It was really good, but yeah, I'd have liked a little bit more. But yeah, so then the madness that happened after that. When you told me, I got really excited because I thought, oh my God, I don't know who this is. But then realized that earlier on when I had opened up Instagram, the first thing that came up was that. So it was really anticlimactic because I didn't think of that. And then Jordana Grace came out and I was like, oh, okay, then. That would have been exciting if I didn't already know that was going to happen. But yeah, WWE NXT women's roster's problem has just got even bigger of a problem now.
Yeah, I mean, really, after being in the Royal Rumble, she should have and could have gone to the main roster. Mm-hmm. I guess the issue with the main roster is where did she fit in there as well? There is nowhere right now. They are so stacked. The best place for her to be is to go after Julia or Stephanie Vakir. I just right now I don't think she fits into that pre-WrestleMania women's division on the main roster.
Yeah, because I think we'd then probably be moaning and going, oh well, she's not getting any of like much of a look in, and so I think you're probably right. It's one of those ones where she could have done it, but it's probably right that she kind of dominates through NXT, and then when the time's right, to move her up. But yeah, obviously that was the first NXT pay-per-view for quite a while that I've watched from start to finish. This is where NXT do excel when they're given the time to build up these stories and put it on a big pay-per-view like this. So I'm really excited for what's going to come for Stand and Deliver. We are hoping that for Stand and Deliver, we are going. I'm going to put it in a banner. So then if my camera goes off, it goes off. I'm going to replace this one. And so that's what we're hoping to do. So of the night of Mania 1, it's on at 8 o'clock and must be 3 hours because it's 8, 9, 10. Oh, no, hang on. Yeah, so it must be 3 because I think Mania starts at 11. So, yeah. So there's that. Obviously, on the topic of that, in my other news, TNA announced today that they're going to have a pay-per-view on that week as well, which is TNA and yeah, obviously they've announced that, so we'll find out what that is. I am going to skip over last week's Raw, other than that we had that was the day when Logan Paul was advanced to the Elimination Chamber, and so was Bayley. Dynamite was a little bit naff. TNA, there was nothing on there. SmackDown was bad as always. There was Naomi and Chelsea Green. Naomi advanced in that one. And then
we had Nia Jax versus Tiffany Stratton, which I thought was quite a good match. I'm getting sick of Tiffany Stratton not getting a clean win over Nia Jax yet, which is frustrating, as she's supposed to be champion, but she can't pin Nia Jax cleanly.
Yeah, I think SmackDown is just becoming a little bit of a mess, to the point that I've said to myself, you're going to have to cut out some shows, so just cut out. That. And then no, it's definitely not you. It is definitely my internet. So we then had this, which was again a little bit of a mess. There was only 2 matches that I was at all bothered about. So the first one was obviously Will and Kenny Omega versus Takeshita and Carl Fletcher. Everybody went absolutely bonkers crazy about this match and said it's one of the best matches they've ever seen. And to now, I know I watched a lot of wrestling that day, obviously with the full Vengeance Day and whatever else I was watching, but I'm still trying to pick my brains as to why they thought that was absolutely amazing and out of this world. It wasn't bad. It just had lots of great spots. My actual words were not a masterpiece that everybody thinks it is. And I also put another note that Will looks more orange than normal. He'd clearly either been really smashing the fake tan before, had been laying out in the sun, or he just decided he might have even put his missus's fake tan on instead, and then realised as he got to the ring it's completely wrong. Obviously, as per, Mercedes Moné retained the title. We found out a couple of matches for Revolution, which is AEW's last chance for me, else I'm going to stop watching until it gets good again, because they're really falling off the face of the earth currently. There was the Brisbane Brawl match, which was like every other match that we've seen over the last couple of weeks that's been an ODQ match where they kind of throw themselves around the arena. I was cringing a lot when Edge was stood on the ring post, like stood where the crowd was, and he was going to make a massive leap, and I had visions of him breaking his neck again. And yeah, that story is it was dead quite a while ago, and I think they're just going to keep stringing it on. I don't know where it ends, but we'll find out. So this next one was really weird. This is another match that I was really looking forward to. Okada versus Buddy Matthews. So it turns out Buddy Matthews got injured before the match, and only until after the match he found out he was injured, but he did it before the match, so that's never good. Obviously he lost. I thought he still looked really strong during the match, which was good. I was a little bit disappointed that he didn't win, but obviously it's fairly early on in his story, so I think he will eventually, but obviously he's got time out now. And then my favourite part of the whole night was that we got Tony Storm winning the title again. Yeah, it's not like we've seen it 3 times before. They thought, do you know what they want? When they're a little bit pissed off with AEW at the minute, they want to see the same people, same person win the title for the 4th time. We don't. So yeah, that was that. AEW and ROH also had a Global Wars pay-per-view, which happened last night. There was Will Ospreay's girlfriend fighting the when my camera comes back. So yeah, I did watch this today. WWE's answer to the next big prospects. I've been taking the mick a little bit about it for weeks because it's something they've been doing before, but I actually did really enjoy it. So they kind of broke down the structure to it. So there's obviously 4 coaches, Booker T, Undertaker, Bubba Ray, and Mickey James. They'll each have a team of 4 prospects that they've picked from the Performance Center trainees. They'll be whittled down to a few that will get an NXT contract. And then the coaches also have a little competition between themselves for like an LFU championship. So each week, a coach will get a point if the member and this week.
You completely gone again, I think.
But
You were back for like half. You were back for half a second, then you were gone. I believe Santino and Morello lasted longer in the Royal Rumble than you were back for. Oh, it's so bad. I got you changed for like half a second.
Okay. It's one of those streams that we're just going to have to write off. So, yeah, Raw this week. Obviously, it gave us the last two entrants of both of the chamber matches. So to start off, Sami Zayn was kind of pleading with Adam Pearce to give him a match against Kevin Owens. He originally said, "No, you're not cleared to wrestle." But in the end, he did give in and has made an unsanctioned match at Elimination Chamber. AJ Styles won a match against Dominic Mysterio. Braun Breaker kind of blindsided him, setting up a future match, which will be good to see, I think. Dakota Kai became beard. I'm back. So Penta defeated Pete Dunne. Gunther and Jay kind of had more fallings out. LWO and New Day. So we have the full chambers for both the men's and the women's. Let me have a look. Let me get them up so I definitely get them right. So men's side, we have Damian Priest, Logan Paul, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Cena, and Drew McIntyre. For the women's side, we have Roxanne Perez, Bayley, Naomi, Liv Morgan, Alexa Bliss, and Bianca Belair. So I kind of want your thoughts. I don't think we've had two stacked chambers like this in quite a while.
Yeah, I think the chambers are looking pretty good. For me, I think the women's one is a bit more pick'em than the men's. I think I can only really see the men's going one way, and that is Damian Priest. He's getting the Roman Reigns treatment right now. I don't know where he's going to lose or who's going to pin him, but I can't see anyone at the minute doing that. The women's, I really can't call. I think the logical explanation is the match I would want to see is Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley, just because of how much of a good match it's going to be. But I do think we will see some more seeds planted of the Bianca, Naomi, and Jade Cargill situation there. I think that maybe Jade Cargill returns and something happens with that. I would also not be surprised if after this whole time, be it Belair and Naomi were involved in it, and this whole time it was a big ruse between them, because after Raw last night, or SmackDown, I don't buy it was Liv and Raquel. That's too weak. But yeah, my money for the women's match. I don't see Bliss winning. She's going to be tied, I think, in some sort of Judgment Day, Wyatt 6 storyline for WrestleMania. But yeah, my money for the men's is Damian Priest, and I think by process of elimination, if you were going to say Liv, Bianca, Naomi were all going to get caught up in that storyline, I mean, that leaves Bailey and Roxanne Perez, but I'd love to see Perez win it, but I just can't pick the women's. I don't know.
Yeah, I think no, you've said it. I didn't really think about it like that before, but I do think there's quite a lot of winners in that one. I do think the men's could throw as a curveball as well, to be fair. But we'll obviously see. I don't think I've really been bothered about Elimination Chamber in quite a while, so I'm really pleased that I am for once. But yeah, what else do we have?
I just with the men's, I can't. The way they've built Damian Priest, I can't see him taking a clean pin. If it's not him, then it's going to be CM Punk. But don't get excited for John Cena winning it. I still think we're going to have a few more John Cena losses before we get the big one.
Let him win a title now. What do they do for the rest of the year?
Exactly.
I think they'll be thinking, right, where can we do it? It might, to be honest, I wouldn't even be surprised if it's right at the end of his run that he kind of finishes it on a title.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see him win Money in the Bank and do a cash in when no one's seeing it coming. That would be awesome.
Yeah, no, that would be a shout. Yeah, definitely a shout. So we have some news. The most wacky part of the news this week is that this weekend there is a Qatar Pro Wrestling Super Slam 3. This is something that's happened a couple of times under this name and then different names. But this time they're going to have Miro. He'll be fighting, which is the big one. Although at the moment he's only got a graphic with him on it, so I don't know whether he's going to be fighting himself or whether he's going to be fighting somebody else. They've also got.
Is this the one in Doha? If this is the one in Doha, the names that they've announced for it is crazy, but
yeah, it's a bit mental. So there's Jinder Mahal, Mustafa Ali, Mick Foley, Nick Nemeth, Bobby Lashley, and Miro. Like, whoever has come up with that is just, well, I think they were smoking something. Obviously, on other news, WWE this week have taken marijuana off the banned substance list, which is not something I thought I'd be saying this week.
I've got, sorry to cut you off, but I've got another graphic here for this QPW Super Slam 3, right? And from what I can see on here, I've got Bobby Lashley, Nick Nemeth, Mustafa Ali, Matt Cardona, Alberto Del Rio, Enzo Amore, Vikingo, Marty Scurll, D'Lo Brown, Justin Thunder Liger, or whatever his name is, I can't remember, Jinder Mahal, and Mick Foley.
Most.
I can't believe this is a real card. I'm having to look it up now because this is.
Jenna was going to be here today, but I've just got a message from her that says my ceiling's leaking. So that is why she's not here. I hope you get the ceiling leaking sorted. I don't really know. Don't really know what to do with that one. But yeah, it's not good.
I reckon she probably wants to stop the leak. That's my expert opinion.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, well, I've just not by choice; it's just by the internet. But yeah, we've got some other bits of news. I'm going to take Raw down because we're no longer talking about Raw. But we have. Well, is it going to come up? It is. We have this. So today, another bit of bizarre news came out that this is a new Death Riders shirt. So for $30, you can get a plain white shirt with Death Riders in the bottom corner. Oh no, it says produced by Death Riders. Sorry,
property of Death Riders.
So yeah, I'm sure that will be a sellout. But yeah, I could do that to one of my white shirts, to be fair, and just a black marker pen and put Poppy and Death Riders at the bottom, and it would be exactly the same. Nobody would know the difference.
Are Death Riders going to start wearing that T-shirt now? Are they going to start wearing T-shirts that are property of Death Riders, or are they going to continue wearing their white ones?
I don't know. If AEW don't book up their ideas, I won't even be there to see it. So, so yeah. We have that AEW Revolution. They've got a couple of matches announced for that. That is looking really good currently. So I think they might save themselves. So already we've got Kenny Omega versus Takeshita for Takeshita's title. We've got Hurt Syndicate versus Lance Archer and Brian Cage. We've got Ospreay and Fletcher in a steel cage match. Obviously, the second part of Ricochet and Swerve. MJF is finally being taken away from his horrendous promo work and is going up against Hangman Adam Page. And then Mox versus Copeland is a very big question mark because it's not a big question mark. They've announced it today that that's going to happen as well. So that's 1, 2, 3. So that's 6 already for Revolution. So yeah. So basically it's a last chance. If they somehow manage to cock up the pay-per-view with those matches on it, then yeah, I'm going to give up with AEW for a while. So yeah, that's that. Josh Alexander is obviously a free agent at the moment. AEW are seen to be winning the bidding war with him, basically because they're offering more money. And if he was going to WWE, they'd put him in NXT. And I think he's proven himself enough to not go into NXT. So it's probably a better move for him to go to AEW. A couple of names from the independent UK, so the indie UK scene. Rio and Man Like Darius are being considered for WWE call-ups at the moment. And then we have this. Oh, no, we have one more bit of information. Michelle McCall's been put into Hall of Fame. So that follows Triple H as the second one. But then we have this.
God's sake.
Which broke just before we came on air. Jenna sent me a picture and just put enjoy. Because obviously her thoughts are going to be, this is where I wish she'd been on, because she would have had something massive to say about this. Mainly negative. But the message that I got was, apart from before the roof started leaking. Enjoy was the first one, and then she put, I don't get how they are going to have a women's title. I can only name one, but then obviously we found out a little bit more about it. They are, so before the news broke, she said they're going to have to recruit a shit ton of wrestlers, I swear. But then it came out, which she said it's basically WWE NXT, WWE UK all over again, which it basically is. Do they ever learn? So the first WWE ID champions will be determined in a tournament across the top independent wrestling promotions. So it's going to be a bit bizarre because it's not like they're even on WWE TV at all. So if you want to go and see it, you're going to have to either listen to it when they randomly talk about it.
While she cut out, it's going to be interesting because it says various selected independents. So I can only imagine it's going to be independents that can facilitate footage of the event into WWE standards. So I imagine you might see something in TNA, but I think maybe NWA, some smaller ones, maybe Progress over here. But I think it's gonna be presented in a way that's going to be watchable for WWE fans. I don't think it's going to be you've got to go to this event to see it, otherwise you're never going to see it, because there would be no benefit for WWE to have that because no one could watch it.
Yeah. I'm excited to see if they actually do this right and not mess it up. And if it lasts more than one people being crowned champ, and if the second person gets it or it just falls into the abyss, like. It just feels like they're doing so much at the minute, and I don't know when it's going to end. So you've got obviously Netflix, and you've got Evolve now on Tubi. You've got LFG, which
I feel like it's a bad time. Like I feel like they should have maybe waited until after WrestleMania season, because, like you said, with LFG on the card now, and they're gonna. I can't remember when the start date is, but NXT, WWE Evolve as well. That's going to be on Wednesdays now. There's so much programming.
I think it's the start of March. I think off the top of my head that they're going to start that. But like I said, I mentioned on the last one, I think Tubi's like a streaming platform like YouTube. So I think it's going to be pretty easy for everyone to get on board with that. But it's a weird one because it may just feel like just an extension of NXT. So it's, yeah, I can't say I'm massively excited. But yeah, obviously we'll find out. I think that's basically it. Before my internet actually just gives up and cuts the stream off completely. So yeah, anything that you've got to shout out?
I don't have too much to shout out, but please follow our Patreon. The link is at the top. If you follow this Patreon, we will promise to get Sam better internet. It couldn't have timed out any more perfectly as I finished that.
Yeah, it's normally okay. It just has these weeks where it just doesn't do anything. But yeah, obviously, the history of the Hardcore Championship went up this week. And yeah, it's I feel that my content that I'm going to be watching over the next couple of weeks and leading up to Mania is going to be very different. I'm kind of watching less of the big stuff and more of I'm going to try and find stuff that I like, that I actually enjoy and don't want to skip half of it. So basically this, up until Mania, I think it's going to be NXT and anything I fancy. So these shows could look a little bit different. But yeah, there we are. So I have no clue when we'll be back. We all have very busy weekends this weekend. So we shall see you next time. No, leave studio.
Did he just leave the studio and leave me live?
I'm going to put myself on there because apparently we're still live. So yeah. And